Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Tim back with another video, lounging in bed because today's my day off. No live stream today. Said I wasn't going to do any videos, anything internet, but I had something that happened to me last night, and I just wanted to kind of share this story with y'all because I thought it was kind of funny. But so last night, probably 7:30, 8 o'clock, I was going up to the grocery store to get some dinner. I was like, I'm gonna get some fried rice. I'm gonna get some grilled chicken. It's gonna be good. But I got there a little too late. I still haven't figured out exactly when they stopped doing like the hot bar, deli section up there. So there was no fried rice, there was none of the Asian foods up there, and like the grilled chicken and the fried chicken they had looked like it'd been sitting there since 2018. Like it was crispy. It was all when they let the stuff sit under that light for hours. It just wasn't looking good. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go over to produce, grab me some grapes, and I was like, I'll go somewhere else to get the rest of my dinner. I didn't really want to. I also grabbed a jug of water. I was like, I need some water. I didn't really want. I wanted to get food from there because I wanted to eat healthy, But I was like, well, maybe I'll run through a drive-through somewhere. Um, but when I got to the car, I was like, well, I don't just want to go right to get something to eat. I'd been in the house most of the day. I was like, all right, I'll just do a little driving around. So I got this little drive I do. It takes about 30, 35 minutes. Takes me kind of out of town. It's kind of scenic. It was nighttime, so you couldn't really see nothing. But during the day, it's kind of scenic. So I was like, I'll just do my little drive, you know, take like 35 minutes, and just get out the house, listen to some music in the car, whatever. So I go, I do my little drive. I'm coming back into town and I'm coming back towards like Main Street. And I was like, you know what? I'll probably just swing in the Taco Bell. Screw it. I'll swing in the Taco Bell, get some soft tacos, whatever. Um, and I'm just going along like normal, and then out of nowhere, bam, like cop lights behind me, and not like just a small cruiser with the few. Nah, this was like the SUV with the lights. You know what I mean? This was like I'm talking about. There was lights everywhere. It went from total darkness around me to blue and red lights everywhere. I'm like, what is happening? I'm like, I mean, like it like blew my mind. Like it blew my mind. Like I pulled over like instantly. Like the cop literally almost ran into the back of me. How quickly like I whipped it into it was a CVS. How quickly I whipped it into the CVS because I was like, I don't know what's happening. Like, and I wasn't risking it. I was like, I'm not gonna keep driving and things get drastic. You know what I mean? Not the year for all that. I whipped it in immediately. You know what I mean? And so and then I realized, like, why was I freaking out? I haven't been pulled over by the cops in forever. Like, I haven't had a car for the longest. Like I had a cop come behind me when I was parked the other day and came up and talked to me. But like, I ain't had a cop pull me over. You know what I'm saying? Like I was doing something wrong. Ain't happening forever. I'm like, what is going on? But the cool thing is, and I never was really into nothing crazy in my life. But the cool thing is, I got nothing. I ain't riding dirty at all no, these days. Never really was, but definitely not these days. So I wasn't too worried, but I'm like, why does this dude pull me over? I just want to go to Taco Bell, go home. Right? So and you know how they do. They don't just pull you over, then immediately hop out the car. Which I don't blame them. Not the year, for that either. So they pull you over and they kind of sweat you a little bit. They pull you over, the lights going, everybody driving by looking at you crazy. They kind of sit there, let you sweat, see what you're gonna do. Which I was a cop, I do the same thing. What is this dude reaching for? What's he doing? You know what I mean? What's going on in there? I'm reading your bumper stickers. I'm trying to figure you out. You know. So anyway, he eventually walks up and he's like, "Hey, super nice guy, super nice." I'm in Montana, so obviously it was a white cop. Um, Not that that really matters, but we painting a scenario here. But he was like, the usual, "Hey, I'm officer, blah 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 blah," and I think it was the county sheriff. Wasn't city, it was county. And he was like, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" And I'm like, "Not a clue." And he was like, "You have no taillights." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "You have absolutely no taillights in that vehicle." Now it made sense why he almost ran into me when I whipped it in there so quick because I don't think I had taillights, brake. I don't think I had anything in the rear end. There was nothing going on back there light wise on my Subaru. I was in my Subaru, by the way. So, which I just said I was going to sell. Now I definitely am going to sell. He was like, "Hey, do me a favor." He's like, "Jiggle, are all the lights on?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think that, so I jiggled the lights, didn't change anything. I was like, "Yeah, the kid I bought this car from, I was like, he's got it rigged so that the lights do weird stuff. Like the headlights come on whenever you put the car in like gear. So if I'm sitting just idling, the lights with the lights off on the switch, they're off. But as soon as I put it in like first, the lights come on. So he did some weird wiring. That's even, and then like you have to switch them on with the switch. They get a little brighter. He's like, yeah, maybe it's an electrical problem. He's like, I get it, I get it. He's like, do me a favor. Can I get your license, registration, insurance? So I immediately pull out my driver's license. That's where like I ran into a problem because I could not find anything else. Like I give my driver's license, right? He's already eyeing it because it's from Florida. You know, like it's about 8 addresses old. It's from Florida. He's already like, okay. And he's like, you got your insurance? I'm like, so I'm like, I'm going into the glove box, officer, to get my insurance. I'm no, 9 millimeters, no bear spray, nothing in there, just my insurance. I open the glove box, all kinds of masks and Instacart receipts and napkins and straw, all the stuff you don't want, all the stuff you just throw in your glove box, all that falls out. Bam, bam, bam. I'm like, oh, um, long story short, could not find any insurance card information. Now I remember I was like, oh, I think when they sent me, all I had was my temporary, you first get your insurance. I had like my temporary paperwork. So I handed him that and he's like, yeah, this says only valid 60 days. I'm like, yeah, but it shows I got insurance. He was like, yeah, but that was, that ran out months ago. I'm like, all right, let me find a little card. They send you a little paper card. And I thought I'd put it in my wallet. So I went all through my wallet, couldn't find it. I'm all in my glove box, can't find it. He's like, well, maybe I can use this. He's like, you got your registration? Nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. I don't even know what I did with my registration. Like, it's easy. When they register your car, you take it, you put it in the glove box, tell them. I don't even know where it is. I couldn't tell you where it is now. I'm like, bro, I'm like, it's legal. It's legal, sir. He's like, all right, let me go see what I can. Which the registration I wasn't too worried about because he can run the tags and tell. The license he can run it. I'm good. No warrants. The insurance I was a little nervous about, but I did end up finding another insurance card while he was back running my stuff, but it had expired in November as well. I'm like, I can't win. So he goes back there. Oh, and when he was leaving to go back and run my stuff, he's like, hey, do me a favor, Mr. Ward. Can you go ahead and put your seatbelt back on and then just remain in the car? I'm like, that's new. Put your seatbelt on. But I guess, hey, I don't blame him. That's just one more thing. Maybe when they're back there running your stuff, if they happen to see that seatbelt buckle shimmer in the moonlight and you getting you out of that seatbelt, they know you about to run or something. So maybe it's just one more fail safe. I was like, cool. But honestly, like I said, super nice cop. He came back. I showed him that other card. He was like, yeah, this is an expired too, but since you had 2 of them, I figure you got insurance. He's like, everything else checked out, which that's the worst part when you sit in the car, like waiting for them to run your stuff. You always start thinking back to anything you might have done that might have got you warrants. Anything you might have done, which these days I don't do nothing. But I remember back in the day, I was always like, man, was I all drunk and did something and like they looking for me? Like back in the day, I used to hate that part because I know so many people who've been sitting in cars and thought they was good. It was just gonna get a ticket and ended up down at county. You know what I mean? For the long haul, for the stretch. So you be sitting there, but I'm like, I think I'm good. And I was super nice cop. He's like, hey, I'm not going to give you a ticket. He was like, I'm never getting anybody a ticket for lights. He was like, he actually went through some other stuff. He's like, hey, turn your hazards on. See if we can figure this out. Do whatever. We couldn't figure it out. I was like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not giving me a ticket, I was like, can I just like drive home? I was like, I live right down the road. And he was like, yeah. He's like, I can't guarantee you're not going to get pulled over again by another cop who, might not be as lenient as me. He was like, but you're free to go. He was like, I'll even turn my lights off if they're, bothering you while you're getting everything put back together. So you head out. As soon as he like gave my stuff back and like walked away, I dipped out. I was like, you ain't got to turn your lights off. I ain't going to be here that long. Like I'm getting to the house. You know what I mean? So it was just, not a really crazy story, but, I just hadn't been pulled over by the cops and yeah, I got home and literally I went back there, nothing back there, no lights whatsoever. I beat on the back of the car. I lifted the trunk. I slammed it. No lights. So we definitely selling the Subaru because I ain't got pulled over in I don't know how long, like decade probably. And now I'm getting pulled over, in the dark at night in Montana. Nah, the Subaru's got to go. I'll talk to y'all later.